Gilg Jew, Gilg J as Gilg Nerach.
As Gravish your Cartnish, Claare na Gael as Babaliam Ussaholtaka. This is Robert Cadine Cartwell, Robert a Carslach.
Have you ever had tell of old Bobby Bob?
And I'm here to present Claare na Gael, a programme in two languages, the English language, as a Gelg, the Manx Gaelic, Chinian Amera, the mother tongue of Allan Vanning, the Isle of Man. As Banachtan dut Rish. Just after the start of the First World War, Sir George Goldie burned all the personal papers he could find. Towards the time of his death in 1925, he got his son and daughter to swear a solemn oath that they would never write anything about him or help anyone else to do so. De Bernard Sneachti frail tais on Shach Crebasanen, de Gavrige Fayen Lai. Tad cor rauji de be tui Jane Lias Voirek, a ben rein, de chore ber gedden rei rish Bernard Sneachti, no dat inche gles hoers lobbyek, de rau Bernard Sneachti na sellen ish. In 1789, a song was collected at Bishop's Court from an old woman, and it's considered to be the oldest song in Manx, all about Finn na Zarshan. The Mollig Band have recorded it on two occasions. This is from the album Into the Tide. Tawas Geesjach rish Radio Banning, Stasiwn and Ashun, Viscol er Scalia Mach, Vai Dúlish, Allan Banning. A piece of genuine oceanic balladry, which actually emerged whilst some of the cod variety from Macpherson was being recited, and that stimulated the gardener to go and fetch an old woman who knew some ballads about Fianna's Ocean. That was the Moloch Band with the Manx story of Fianna's Ocean, and having serendipitously collected that in 1789, unfortunately no one seems to have thought to cast around for more. All that I wish to be recorded of myself, wrote George Goldie, can be read under the articles headed Nigeria and Goldie in the Encyclopaedia Britannica. It shows his importance that there were such entries in the Encyclopaedia Britannica, of course. He called himself George Goldie, becoming Sir George Goldie, and the long form of his name was George Dashwood Tubman Goldie. But he was born at the Nunnery just outside Douglas in 1846, and his name at birth was George Dashwood and a hyphenated Goldie Tubman. He became such a prominent figure in international affairs that he merited an entry in the Encyclopaedia Britannica, as we heard, but he was an intensely private man, wanted to be known for his achievements, not for his personality. As he came towards his death in 1925, he got his son and daughter to swear that they'd write nothing about him, would supply no information for any other biography, and he finished it off with this warning: "If you break this promise to me, I swear I will rise and haunt you." Ven rein smunnion, terwijl ben het sneacht die marunish, is terwijl is chogere as a nie kriek, ren shelger corlesh ben het sneachtig as a Gael, ach dodde marui. Henk collach moch sha, as ren en shelger turten as maru en collach moch shen, as gawi mach as a kriege, as ren I corlesh kri shen gus a ven rein, as vi saliet as roastich, as ren a ven rein I a kri shen. Lugden ven rein I, kri ben het sneachti mor vi shilten, vi shiger nish drawish heen en chid ven sele, as mer so henkig as a gleshoerastelok, as doorti, gleshoerastal wolle mortau, kwaibis en versele as ol you jou. A stregger a gleshoerastal, ven rein de vier gebweeg tau chwish, ach vos, de ben het sneachti glen, bis frail tai na schachtenia begge shen, tau zen kiert na sele rish. Esh, van ben rein fi chorri, no de rauwe gles, de kinjach, lord en irnje, as va fissek, de rauwe shelger bolle. Now, the traditional shout for the Cornish fishermen to man the boats when the lookout on the cliff spotted the telltale oily trace of pilchards on the surface was "Heba!" Here it's woven into a song written and performed by the Cornish duo Tír a Tabas.
Weather ashore, sky now is clearing, the rain is no more, let's hope. Fishermen waiting, boats ready to go, tides running freely, the waves ebb and flow. Your turn. Heather, cry heather around the bay, it's time to shoot nets for the catch of the day. Heather, cry heather around the bay, sailors are ready, the call they obey. The hewer, he stands firmly on Carriquin, makes ready to call for Toros to begin. Bushes in hand and eyes set like a hawk, pilchards are coming and they must be caught. Heather, cry heather around the bay, it's time to shoot nets for the catch of the day. Heather, cry heather around the bay, sailors are ready, the call once the term of his Lent, it's always declared that between the two poles there's nothing like pilchards for saving of souls. Heather, cry heather round the bay, it's time to shoot nets for the catch of the day. Heather, cry heather round the bay, sailors are ready the call. Heather, cry heather round the bay, it's time to shoot nets for the catch of the day. Heather, cry heather round the bay, sailors are ready the call. Heather, cry heather round the bay, it's time to shoot nets for the catch of the day. Heather, cry heather round the bay, sailors are ready the call. They obey.
Heather, written and performed by two bards of Gorseth Curnow, Delia and Dave Brotherton, and they're based in St Ives, and Tir Hatabas, which is the name they call their duo, means country and language. Wa fis ag ven rein nies dat au benid sniachti de vier fors bio. As vi smunnion en ach otos I chitri de redden reiri. No gouders na rau ish, a fair sail as a cheer, na ren true for gaily on sheer be. By yeras money plan. Renny pentiel en edenek, as renny comri heen morshan ven chager, na begen nek pecher biori. So far chum a shaw high herish na shach slagen, der a henky gus tie na shach cribassan and beggar, as renny crankle a doris, as dilly mach. Cwj vrouw de grek. Ren Bennett sniachti, kikkel mach as an unje gus demi. Le mai me ben vai, greu biset de grek. Cwj vrouw, dregerish. Pishen de leitje je de chulju ge. As renny kummelsoes pish va fiet as shije je immedi dan. Gen el feme mer goil al, rosh ligge stjage chan ven vai shos money Bennett sniachti. George Goldie's father was Lieutenant Colonel Sir John Tubman Goldie Tubman, Speaker of the House of Keys. His mother's name was Caroline Hoveton, and she was originally from Cambridgeshire. And George Goldie said of his parents, "I had the good fortune to lose both my parents before they could have any influence on me." His mother died in 1847, only a year after George Goldie's birth, and his father died in 1852. Apparently one of his boyhood achievements was mental arithmetic, and indirect evidence suggests that he had a range of abilities, but he was very self-willed, and his frustrations led him to go into almost ungovernable rages at times. His father had been in the Scots Guards, and the father's family tradition was a service in the Brigade of Guards, but George Goldie wanted to be different. He opted to join the Royal Engineers, and at the age of 17 he entered Woolwich to train, and 2 years later, in 1865, he received a commission. Sean Keegan on mandolin and Macdara O'Wheelon on bouzouki. Mandora, I suppose it's pronounced. Macdara O'Wheelon on bouzouki. And they sent us Irish reeling on our way. Sean Keegan studied classical mandolin at Trinity College of Music, London, as well as being immersed in Irish traditional music. And Macdara O'Wheelon was the T.G. Cahir Young Musician of the Year in 2024. Seo dut stasiwn yn asiwn Radio Fanning. Sé Claare na Gael wisgol sgéli Mac Cartnish, Peen, Robert Cutting Carswell, Robert a Carslach.
Did the ever hear tell of old Bobby Bob?
Ta cé dut Clash and Claare na Gael rís seachtan lug jigol sgéli Mac, shen through dinna Radio Fanning as an craman eish rís. Ta podcast golar Janunius J. Claare na Gael vis regedan nasty through dinna Radio Fanning, na through Kereder and Podcast Elia, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Audible, Spotify, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, na Alexa. Well, George Goldie was still evidently subject to rages and fierce action during his army days. He wrote, "I was like a gunpowder magazine. I was blind drunk when I passed my final examination for the engineers." His career in the Royal Engineers turned out to be short-lived, starting his training in 1863, getting his commission in 1865. 2 years later, he writes, a relation died, leaving me his fortune. I was so excited by the freedom that this gave me that I bolted without sending in my papers and leaving all my belongings behind. I went straight to Egypt. I never travelled in Egypt without an extra camel to carry my books alone. There, I fell in love with an Arab girl. We lived in the desert for 3 years, Garden of Allah. So it seems that these 3 years were spent in a Bedouin encampment somewhere on the Upper Nile and in the Sudan. But this period of happiness wasn't to last, as he reports at last that she died of consumption. I came home to lead a life of idleness and dissipation. Gau Bernard sneachti a bar vain Doris, as renny kionnacha a leitje vain chan ven chadje morvishielden. Kren verstomers tau osma feitje, durten chan ven. Tardus, as liegt tau korren over leitje me gietemoeds en achjaart a chircho. We Bernard sneachti is weg de ouresek na shadow roi, as renny liggetje kort me giertemoei a leitje no. Ach, ren en chan ven kjon eiche bew, as ge chon, de renne kor stap a tarn enelek, as renny tushem shies, maar de bergi maru. Nish tau reirish vein vers bwei, dorten chan ven, chaus vi seidig ersoel. Gerawi fordern na lukshen, chitkus en faster beg, de denk na shakri bassan an de balia. As wat aglig as tre honnik ad de venit sneachti vinok na lai en lair, gin manne de vjoos na de ljeltes. Ren na trogel nisi, as tre honnik ad kreeg o chon vi kjont sa leitje, ren ad giare ons derfish. Llyn Tegid is the Welsh name for the lake, which in English takes its name from the shoreside village of Bala, home to Rhy George. And this is Rhy George's song, and it's a song for cheese lovers everywhere.
Cerdded trwy y parc, mae'n brysur iawn, mae'n brysur iawn, mae'n brysur iawn. Cerdded wrth y llyn, mae'n wyntog iawn, mae'n wyntog iawn, mae'n wyntog iawn. Cerdded lawr y bryn, mae'n dawel iawn, mae'n dawel iawn, mae'n dawel iawn. Cerdded lan y môr, mae'n syad llawn, mae'n syad llawn, mae'n syad llawn. Gen I ddoeddan o fara a dan Rhedeg trwy y parc, mae'n brysur iawn, mae'n brysur iawn, mae'n brysur iawn. Rhedeg wrth y llyn, mae'n wyntog iawn, mae'n wyntog iawn, mae'n wyntog iawn. Rhedeg lawr y bryn, mae'n gawel iawn, mae'n gawel iawn, mae'n gawel iawn. Rhedeg lan y môr, mae'n syniad llawn, mae'n syniad llawn, mae'n syniad llawn. Oes fasa, gen i ddoeddan, o fara, a dan o gaws, caws, caws. Oes fasa, gen i ddoeddan, o fara, a dan o gaws. Mi faswn i mor hapus a mor ffri, mi faswn i mor hapus a mor ffri. Caws, 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 caws. Caws, 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 caws. Caws, 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 caws. Caws, 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 caws. Caws, 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 caws.
Rhi George in her song Can Caws, 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 Caws. The cheese song, anyway, the Welsh caws cognate with the Manx Caesha. And as Rhi George says of the song, a song to all who love cheese. Esh gawi toiach der tarn enel, as na beggan, henki ash gus a vioasek. Trechiel na crivassan en na berhacher, doortad Charawa chan ben chadja ach a ben rein olk. Sein dat bier de hui jay liggestiach on pecher bi, trenne wel shingen on shaw. As tre ren na drach ben rosh na taek, hai gus a gles as doorti. Gles hoerastul a volle mortau, quoibus en persela as ul you jou. As treggery nach heden as rai. Ven rein, de fear go boeg tau huish, ach forste ben het snjacht die glen, bis frail tain de schachtenie beggeshen, tau zen keert na sele rish. Trechiel ven rein shaw, va huish in de sorry, draui mor boelje, as renulju a fool gulmach as a cree. No drau fissek, gin aurus, drau bened snjachti, fos blio. Ach, nish, doortish, neem smunjen riddenach ni strai de bollach. As trud butcherach, ren a drach ben rein, kier. As ve kier fault fishoonich. George Goldie returned home to the Nunnery in 1868 or 69. There was a Yorkshire girl, Matilda Catherine Elliot, who was employed as a governess at the Nunnery, and George and Matilda became infatuated with each other, and in 1870 they ran off to Paris, unfortunately arriving there just before the Prussian army came to besiege it. They besieged Paris, the siege of Paris during the Franco-Prussian War. And so George and Matilda had to stay there until the siege was lifted. But spending even a short time together in this way in those days was a scandal to their reputations, and they subsequently married in a quiet ceremony in St Marylebone Church in London on the 8th of July 1871. But in later years George Goldie always said that his marriage dated from 1870. On the other hand, it said of George that he was very fond of women, and no man admitted it more frankly. He evidently had other relationships, because later in life reports of him were relayed in court circles, and this apparently affected Queen Victoria's attitude towards him. But it shows again, of course, his standing, that his name was even known to the Queen, never mind that he was a bit of a ladies' man. Now, Robert John McInnes is from Kishorn on the Scottish west coast, but has family connections with North Uist, from where this song comes, and in fact is narrated for us by Smiorach Clan Ronil, the mavis or the thrush of the Clan Donald.
Hallevek, hallevek, ho, hallelo. Hallevek horoi, hallevek hoelilo, smjoroch le clown doel mi. Smjoroch misher uorler fepel, kruping aunen du sel katel, gynjoroch gehet na satje, trymit mofron horle meikne, hallevek hoelilo, hallevek horoi, hallevek hoelilo, smjoroch le clown doel mi. Smjoroch misher moloch benje, Gawar grinje speren saljal, gynjar dolte chorne kalje, spimi bio trote silla, hallevek hoelilo, hallevek horoi, hallevek hoelilo, smjoroch le clown doel mi. Ma voles gach je na hier fein, Keim harish nach molach misha, Cheernen kuri, cheernen clear, and cheer viachar only vessel, hallevek hoelilo, hallevek horoi, hallevek hoelilo, smjoroch le clown doel mi. Cheer nach kuri koshne mara, and cheer geloch vachanach, and cheer loch uanjoch vianoch, cheer en aran vanjoch vialoch, hallevek hoelilo, hallevek horoi, hallevek hoelilo, smjoroch le clown doel mi. Cheeres boiche hari eichkin, and bifirok and kotoch drechal, Paltnas lor le porne macherach, spreer montjich orer chlachan, hallevek hoelilo, hallevek horoi, hallevek hoelilo, smjoroch le clown doel mi. Mes clown doel hued mi maltram, buien en sjals nan srol datje, nan long luid kuan te farsing, atjem nach jun ruske glaslon, hallevek hoelilo, hallevek horoi, hallevek hoelilo, smjoroch le clown doel mi, hallevek hoelilo, hallevek horoi, hallevek hoelilo, smjoroch le clown doel mi.
Robert John McInnes, with a song written by Ian McAracher, or John McCodrum, who was a North US man, with dates 1693 to 1779, and he wrote that as a praising song to the MacDonald of Slate and the Isle of Skye, Smjorach Clon Ronne, the thrush or the mavis of Clandonald. George Goldie travelled extensively in Africa and in 1877 came to the land round the Niger, the River Niger. There were British interests in the area, but they weren't coordinated, and he conceived a plan of developing the area as part of the British Empire in the same way as the East India Company used to opetate, colonisation by private venture capitalism. In 1979, the United African Company was founded, and the British commercial interests came together under this banner. In 1881, the company was renamed the National African Company. Whilst he himself took a lot of work on, he was obliged to take on staff, though it probably didn't suit him to do so. And we'll get a first-hand glimpse of George Goldie's management style a little later. The British had German and French opposition in taking control of this area of West Africa, but George Goldie ruled over the company, working intensely for 16 hours a day. He was full of tense, nervous energy and still had the habit of flying into huge rages, often over comparative trifles. Eis ren y fen rein Comri hi'n morsor sian chasle de chian ben elia. Morsor hai herish na siach sleidjen, a senkigus tai na siach krebasanen, as ren I krankel yn doris as dilly imach, cooch weirig rek. Jich ben it sniacht imach as is doorti, imi rood, han neiden dau ligas siach on pecher bi. A chanello nabel dot gien, doet een chan ven, as gauw imach a chier valt verschunich, as renny kummel susi. Chwish vi boeiach den feitje wach, de rawi na mjole, de Oslo en Doris. As treven bargen jint, doet een chan ven, nish a chier shaw, valt ed kier at de kjaart, As ren ben it sniachti, gin jerkel rishadi erby, lieget en chan ben gino na vi giri. Ach alies van hier churit stiach sa voltek, gauwe pisjoen toiach der avrige, as ren een nien wacht husjem schies gin mjor. Nish en rai chiampler de eilet martau doet en draag wen, sjach en jeragid, as hai rumbi. Breton Fest-Nose Quintet et Les, meaning in abundance, plentiful, with a track called La Mazure, which I think may be a reference to the dance form the mazurka, which is a 3/8 time dance, unlike the polka, originated in Poland before the dancing masters took it and spread it all over. Stasiwn yn asiwn tyn ei sios dy jar o sé Radio Bannington. On seo cartnes seo dat Claare na Gael, mish Robert Catrin Carswell, Robert a Carslach.
Ever heard tell of old Bobby Bob?
Dech oil ve nish tarn gus yn faster beg, as henk na siach crebasan yn bega de valia. Tre honig at ben it sniacht in a liar a tolu, mor de beg I maru, but smunion chalirach de rau gino al jas voire, as tre an a gin magiert, chwra de chir falt fyswnach. As geleers ren a tarn ne mach as a faltek, henk benid snachti de base a fonu kajin ek rish, as dinchi da wulju ver hachert. Esh hugad rauji kiert elia, de be a tui, as gin liga arach rish, pecher be stiach oneg and doris. As higher ben rein tai, as vina shadow rosh a gles hurastal, as durti, gles hurastal a bola mortau, quavis and fersela as ul you jow. A streggery nach heden as rai, ven rein, de fear gobweg tau huish, ach fors te bennet snjach die glen, vis frail tai na shach denia begeshen, tau zen keert na sela rish. And George Goldie soon gained an international reputation as an expert on African affairs. From 1885 he advised the British government at international conferences. Now, a man who worked with him, Joseph Trigger, had this to say about George Goldie. He was a violent and uncompromising man. He had a good deal of uncontrolled temper, and was lashed into frenzies of impatience by stupidity or incompetence. Never did man suffer fools less gladly. I may say that those who were associated with him had to work, early and late, in season and out of season. To be in his service was to realize you were with a masterful man whose instructions had to be obeyed. Yet one learned to love him, some to fear him also. Those who didn't carry out his instructions or showed slackness were severely dealt with. Sir George, when he gave a man special work to do, would close the door on him and tell him privately why he wanted it done. This was to get the man personally interested. And Ruby Biscoe-Taylor and her band Bisky Brisht launched an album earlier this year with each of the 12 songs that Ruby had written for it performed in both English and in Manx. And from the Manx version, this is Chadjinam Co. And that's the abrupt end to Chydinam Co by Bisky Brish. Chydinam Co, I Won't Cry. And that was from Bisky Brish's double album, Brebel Ustja, Treading Water. And that's got, as I mentioned, 12 of Ruby songs, and Ruby sings them both in an English version and in a Manx version, as we heard there, Chydinam Co. Joseph Trigg's description of George Goldie continues. Not only did he see that his orders were carried out, but he grasped every detail of the work himself. Naturally, in a few years, those associated with him in administrative work and trading in Nigeria and at London headquarters began to realise that they were fellow empire builders with him. He had round him a very small, though devoted, staff. Now, what George Goldie created round the River Niger was the basis of the modern country of Nigeria. George Goldie was made a Knight Commander of St Michael and St George in 1887, and, as we heard, was an advisor to the British government on African affairs at a number of important international conferences. Joseph Trigg described George Goldie's physical appearance in the 1880s. Sir George was then a tall, slim, fair, blue-eyed man with piercing eyes which seemed to bore holes into one. That piercing glance was characteristic of him to the end of his life. Trer en y droch ben rein clashen y gles hwrstal lorts yn ach sio. Vi bibberni as vi kraw leis jaulus. Nee benid sniacht I gedden bestili. Eer man bis a bjouwes empien chit de wei kalt. As esch, haig as schemer follet verdenach. As gesen gerawi likli de darach peger beelje. As onshen renny oel njauwach. Vi elen de jenori. As vi ben leis lieger an rúsach, de jinnach pecher bi wa fageri ginaurus goil fodi ach na jai. A quayer bi ren I ir beg an begji, jinnach a pech shen gedden bes. Treb an oel jint urlu, renni peintjeel an edinec, as renni comri hien gurish ben vodach, as hij herish na shaach sleidjen gus a bol on van a shaach kribassan an becher. As trer en I krankel a dorus, ren benid sniachti cor a kionek maach as an unje gus doorti. Chaljoos dau lig a stiach on pecher bi, dins na shaach kribassan an dau gin jillu shen. Now, at the Eisteddfod Gynned Leithol, there's Can a Gadairio, the song of the chairing of the bard, and that's to the tune Chruim Urthu Regis, which means bound by your belt. Now here, the Holman Climax male voice choir of Camborne in Cornwall take that tune and they sing Kenneth Pelmere's words, Cornwall Forever. And that's the Holman Climax Male Voice Choir from Camborne in Cornwall, originally formed in 1940 at the Climax Rock Drill and Engineering Works in Camborne, and they became the Holman Climax Male Voice Choir in the late 60s when the Climax Company amalgamated with the Holman mining equipment manufacturer in the town. Hard rock mining. Yes, wherever you look down into a hole in the ground, anywhere in the world, there'll be a Cornishman. Mai de lŵr, dreger y ben. Fodum de heis ach crec na ŵl yn embol bielia, ach nishesh nim cor ferdot. Na gin shen, dreger ben it sniachti, chalios dau goel beg. Fel goel al rosh fishun door te ben? Jichas sio, nim giara yn ŵl ons de fish, ni os goel a chow rushiach, nim goel a chow ben. Now, George Goldie's friend Dorothy Wellesley provides this description of him. 5'9" in height, ill-made, spare to the point of emaciation, rapid and violent in his movements, his nervous force extraordinary, the nose the beak of an eagle, the eyes blue rapiers. And George Goldie was born at the Nunnery on the 20th of May, 1846. As the jar o Sianne, Jera and Claare, Shaw, Jera and Claare here, Shaw. Dave Moore will be with you from 7 till 9 for your Sunday evening chill out, and at 9 Judith Lay takes you through into the early hours of Monday morning with Sundown. This coming Friday the 22nd of May, the Solent Theatre Group will be presenting Tales from the Cellar, an evening of music and storytelling, starting at 7 at the Centenary Centre in Peel, tickets £15, including a themed drink on arrival. Claare and Gael closes this time with Irish reels from the strings of Sheelog na Tionawain, not just superb playing, but a beautiful rich deep tone of the viola rather than the violin, and she's also a fine Shan-Nor singer, although not here. Ach, and treir jettas ma so until the next time then, this is Robert Cutting Carswell, Robert de Carslach.
Old Bobby Bob.
Wishing you a very good night, Eve. I'm a Chriort as Duts, my Yeri and Share.
Thank you.